Hi, John Marshall, the DrillMaster. After a bit of a hiatus, I'm back doing another critique video. This is a solo by Cadet Delacruz in San Angelo, Texas. All right, so we've got everything going. Let's go ahead. Oh, I'm frozen. Sorry. It's raining somewhere in Florida, so there we go. All right, so I gotta say, first of all, why the three butt taps? What does that do? Does that it can draw the audience's attention? However, so there are teams like John Jay. They will and then other soloists as well around the country. They'll take the rifle and I'll use my little light rifle here, but they'll take the rifle, they'll grab across, and they will bring the rifle up and then really butt slam. And I'm talking about a butt slam that lands on the heel, not the toe. We don't want to ricochet, right? But a butt slam that is nice and loud, and it will draw the audience's attention. Okay, so you draw the audience's attention. What are you going to do? Well, here the message that I received, hold on just a sec. Let me bring in some context here. I'll pause this. Oh, okay. I got it. Sorry about that. All right. So, second year cadet, Cadet De La Cruz is a second year cadet. So, hasn't been spinning for a long time. So, then what I want to encourage you to do then is it's a decent beginning entrance. Okay, and I don't mean beginning for the performance. I mean beginning at the beginning level of development of design. So what you want to do before you even step on to the competition area, you need to grab the audience's attention. You need to have some kind of opening statement. And three little butt taps isn't really an opening statement. Okay, sure, it is. You can use that as the opening statement. You could use a nice big butt slam as an opening statement. It's more effective if there's more than one individual doing that butt slam, like a whole team of 12, 16, even 9 works. But what I'm trying to get across to you is that there needs to be something besides just tap, 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 and then you start marching forward. Everybody can march forward. Everybody can tap, tap, tap. Now, like I said, this is fine at the beginning level, but now you want to start thinking of, well, what can I add to the performance that will help me take the eyeballs of my audience and say, I can't miss this. I want to watch Cadet De La Cruz the entire time, because if I blink, I need to do this the entire time. I don't want to blink because I don't want to miss a split second of the performance. So, and there's all kinds of ways that you can create an opening statement. And I could go on for a while and describe that, but that's not really the point of the video. It's just that now start considering that that different opening statement. Nice toss. Now let's go back. I appreciate that toss. I really do. So, well, I need to go back a little farther here. So here, good. All right, so you've stepped forward, and I can appreciate this. It's a different kind of toss. You're tossing on a corner because we see you then move to your left, almost a left flank of sorts here, which is fine. And so I like that toss. As you're stepping forward, you toss up, you're looking, and then you catch. So now your your body movement, your hips are already turning into the left. Your shoulders are here to be able to catch the rifle solidly. So let's see what you do. Okay, good. You catch, but then you move off with a rounded corner, so your left foot comes forward instead of over to the left. Now, again, nothing wrong with doing that, except that you might want to make that toss, that catch, and maybe even that flank a little bit sharper. So you toss, you catch, and then you turn. Maybe that's a possibility. Or you toss, turn under, and catch, which would be interesting. You could turn under, turn your hips, and then catch, and be completely, with a hip and shoulder disagreement. Your hips are facing in the new direction almost completely, and then your shoulders are then almost completely facing in the original direction to be able to catch that rifle and then move it. So a lot of times I've said, let the rifle take you around the drill field. Don't push the rifle around. Well, here you're pushing, but it's with a purpose. And I can appreciate that. This is probably really the only time that I would say bravo on pushing the rifle where you want it. A lot of times you can catch the rifle, bring it up, and then wherever the butt is pointing, wherever the butt of the rifle is pointing, that's possibly where you need to go. It all depends on the situation. I really appreciate the complicated spins here that you have uh, as you're marching up. That was that was actually quite complicated, and as a second year cadet, that was really quite a good entrance. You could see that your face is concentrating on the rifle. You're concentrating on marching as well, but you're getting it done, and that's a good thing. That really is. Now, the setup here for your report in is quite awkward. You could have come up, planted the rifle, brought it across, and saluted. Instead, it was kind of an awkwardness to it. So, again, being a second year cadet, maybe possibly second year into spinning, then you're just feeling out the parameters of your growth as far as your performance. So, maybe you're not ready for certain things yet, but then I do think you really should consider what what I'm talking about. So that was a push as well, but it works. It works well. And now one of the well done. Little awkward there on the figure eight, but still good launch. Scorpion toss ish. So again, why the butt taps? What does that really accomplish there? Now, for as I was talking about with the butt slams for your entrance, butt the butt taps there, kneeling, it comes across so much better, communicates so much better with a full team, and I mean full as in around 9 or more. It just seems to work better. It has a better impact. Here, a solo individual, just not really all that much of an impact. Plus, you seem to, it was kind of a tap, 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 and you're already into, by the third tap, you're into, your mind is already into the next move. Your body is halfway into the next move. It wasn't tap, 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 now move. So it was kind of think of it as a run on sentence. Your vocabulary is everything that you can do with your rifle. You're spinning. It's also everything that you can do with your feet and your body. And so you take, for instance, the very first toss you had with that turn. So you're turning a little bit. You catch. So that's body movement. That's footwork, and that's rifle work. And so that all of that is in a paragraph, and your paragraph is your performance. And if you don't have any punctuation anywhere, it's all run-on sentences, it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't communicate well. Of course, you can go through it very slowly and read and try and pull out each of the sentences, but you need to have punctuation in there. You need to have a period. You need to have an exclamation point. Sometimes you can have a question mark that will leave the audience wanting more. And I suggest that you don't execute a flank. Anything that is regulation drill like, um, if you can't, nice job. That was a great toss, but the catch really wasn't there. The catches are usually horizontal or they're vertical with the butt up, so you can catch and then stop with the barrel down, butt up, or you can catch, a little more difficult, but you can catch and then stop horizontal, which would be much more solid. So you've already marched back to one corner. You've come across. You've marched. Marched back to from the judge's perspective to the back left corner at an angle. Now you've marched across. You've gone straight back to the right corner. You've come forward now to the front right corner, and you've kind of made a little bit of an H with an angle over here. So um, it's it's still a second year developing type of design that I'm seeing, which is fine. I encourage you to explore other ways of movement, like the flank. Instead of executing a left flank earlier when you were going straight back there, instead of executing that, can you make it a 3/4 turn where you turn to the right instead? Or can you move forward, then back up and turn to your right, making it a moving 3/4 turn? There's all kinds of options, and you just need to think of creative ways to be able to manipulate your rifle and also incorporate some interesting footwork. And then a facing movement. Facing movements is it's just a almost. Oh, there you go. You picked up some speed there, got a little bit of some momentum. All right, the facing movement really just doesn't communicate well. Again, you're you're just at that second year level, and I appreciate that. Nice whip. So the whip with the turn was let me go back to right there. Turn here, but see, you it could have been, it could have been a little sharper, or it could let's put it this way: it could have been smoother. Instead of making it sharp, it could have been smoother. And now I'll just give you a detailed uh, uh, suggestion here. All right, so you lift, that's good. You shouldn't have looked down. Don't look down to your right. So you execute the whip here. Well done. But now look at your left arm. It's way out in Iowa. So from here, as you turn the rifle, you could have turned with your left, and instead of bringing your right straight up to your left, you could have, so you step around with your left, you bring your right over here, and then slide your left in, and then take off. Instead of that, it instead of just a very, it's a very basic, I need to come back to attention right now. And you don't have to really at all. So a little bit of that's what, the third time now you've done the figure eight motion, which again, I fully understand. You have some repetition in there, and and that's okay. That's not a big deal. Now that you've done this, now that you have the rest of the yeah, so this is 11/18/23. So now that you have the rest of the school year to to think and devise and design, I really would suggest some some variation in the techniques here of either the figure eight or designing something completely different from the figure eight. Replace one. Just replace one. Have two of the figure eights, maybe one at the beginning, one at the end. Replace the one in the middle, and then you'll have less repetition. You'll be able to keep your audience um, engaged a little more by having not so much of that same repetition there, but also work on perfecting each one of your movements. And I'm sure, good. Yeah, that was fine. That was just fine. So let's, so here, that butt slam right there, that landed on the toe, and you can see the ricochet back. So when you're going to execute a butt slam, it's got to be heel into the marching surface there. Um, think of different ways that you can manipulate the rifle, and it doesn't have to be super complex. Back here, where was it? Right here. From here, this was some complex spinning. I mean, that's great. We're talking second year level, but you're doing this already, and that is good. Some other wow moments for me were your rifle work. So well done, excellent job. I encourage you now to increase the level of your um, of some of your rifle manipulation. Work at it in let's see. I'm going to write down a note here. 7. I'll put the 7 there. I'll put a link down in the bottom, and it'll link to my article, "The 7 Parts of an Exhibition Drill Routine." If you take just each one of the parts separately, then you can break it into bite-sized pieces and just work on the opening statement, and then work on the movement to the judge, work on the report in, then work on the movement away from the judge, work on the body of the movement, work on the movement back to the judge for the report out, work on the report out, work on the movement away from the judge after the report out, and then work on your closing statement. So you didn't really have a closing statement here. You just kind of finished and stepped off. Again, fine. That's okay. Now start to consider just upping your game just a little bit more. You don't have to change everything. Just work on this little tiny piece here, little tiny piece there. Perfect those. When you're satisfied with them, then move on to working on another little piece, and then another little piece. And pretty soon, by the end of the year, maybe maybe even in 3 or 4 months, you could have everything taken care of to where you're very satisfied with the progress that you've made, and you'll be able to then compete at a much higher level. So don't change everything right away. Just take it in pieces. Go to the next competition, uh, having just changed maybe one section, or one, or just your middle figure eight. Replace that, and that'll be for your next competition. Or if it's a ways away, then replace a couple other things. Totally up to you, but I really appreciate the performance, and thank you so much for the request as well. Um, well done, honestly. You did a fine job. A really really good. Just beginning to get out of that beginning phase, and lots of potential there. That's just fantastic. So I hope my words have been helpful, and that was only 20 minutes. Not bad. Not bad for me. Anyway, thanks.